Good. Okay, perfect. So, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Harpenden Town Council Planning Committee being held on Tuesday the 23rd of November 2021. Apologies for absence, I don't think we've got any because I think all of our councillors are here. Any declarations of interest from councillors? I can't see any. As ever, if you spot anything during the meeting that's a conflict, do pop your hand up and I will come to you. Minutes of the meeting of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 2nd of November 2021. Are we happy to take those as an accurate record? All in favour? I need to sign those now, don't I? They just always stick together.
No, sorry. Freshly printed.
I've been cursed this week by pages that stick together.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have we received any public questions in accordance with Standing Orders 22 and 23?
None received.
Have we received any letters of objection?
None received, yeah.
I will note at this juncture that committee members have been handed a letter of objection for the application at land off Bulk Close at the start of the meeting. Okay, at this point we'll move to the bulk of the agenda, which are the applications registered weeks ending 29th of October, 5th of November and 12th of November. Because we have members of the public present, we will start with the one that we have the public present. So I would ask councillors to turn to page 18 and we'll begin with application 5/2021 3033 at land off Bulk Close. So how I'll do this is I'll ask Mim to give your observation first, and then I will ask the member of the public to speak for up to 3 minutes, at which point we will then deliberate and make a decision.
Okay, so my observation is quite short because it's an outline proposal which shows the siting of 6 dwellings on land to the rear of properties in Bulk Close, which already appears to have a ready-made access. The expanse of land to the right of the site is shown as a flood zone with the River Lee sited beyond it. Flood mitigation measures will be submitted when the full application is submitted. There's just one comment that's been received or made by an officer at St Albans District Council, and that's regarding the waste and recycling, who states that the site is off the road, which already receives collections. My comment was no objection in general. However, committee considered that no development should be permitted until details regarding flood mitigation measures and further plans and drawings met the relevant policies of both the Harpenden Neighbourhood Plan and the St Albans Local District Plan.
Thank you, Mim. I will at this juncture ask our member of the public to speak for up to 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much for hearing me. I'm grateful for you taking the comments that I've made, so I'll summarise what I'm going to say. The first objection is this is Greenbelt, development on a Greenbelt, which according to the NPPF, the National Planning Policy Framework, suggests that there's going to be very special circumstances. There are no very special circumstances in my view, and they have to be altered where there are exceptional circumstances, and there's no evidence of that at the moment. There's no ecological assessment supplied, and there is considerable wildlife in this area, and the biodiversity is not being measured either. So that in itself is an objection. The floodplain, as mentioned by Clark, is an issue, and the proposed development is adjacent to that. And as we heard recently with COP23, the environmental impact would be significant in this area when this development was taking place at Ball Close. I suggest that that would have been a key issue, and we're looking to even restrict it further. Transport at that point, at that issue, is a private road. There is no guaranteed access there. So there's 2 bus stops at that location. The heavy goods vehicle, there's 3 houses going to be built at the back of Red Cow. That started construction just recently. So that again is an issue with vehicles egressing and accessing the site. And finally, there's a typo in my submissions. I said 4 houses. In fact, 6 houses, which if you consider it for the local or national policy, it's not going to make a lot of difference. That's probably about 3 minutes.
It was about 3 minutes, yes. Perfect. Thank you for that. At this point, I will open the floor up to councillors. Does anyone want to make any comments on this application? Councillor Turnbull.
Thanks, Chair. I think before the meeting started, a comment was made. This was in Greenbelt land, and my reaction being Greenbelt land, automatically we didn't take it any further. It should be a refusal. Full stop.
Thank you, Councillor Turnbull. Any other councillors? Councillor Drake, I think that's our hand.
Yes, thank you. I was just trying to understand, for my education, what the purpose of the outline application is, and at what point items such as ecological surveys and flood mitigation be submitted. Would they be submitted with an outline application, or would they normally be submitted with the full application?
I think they're submitted with a full application. The outline is just to get the basic permission to build on the land.
Councillor Farmer.
I was going to say, I agree with Councillor Turnbull. Not only is it clearly in Greenbelt land, it is Greenbelt land of some importance given its relationship to the River Lee. And also given that location, I can't see it can be described as infill.
Councillor Paul.
Yeah, for the record, and I've probably said this off record, but I've called it into committee, which means the decision can't be made by the officers if they want to grant it. That's the current committee. I called it in quite, I didn't, not too much detail, but really one was a floodplain. It's very near the worst bit of the floodplain, and also the Hearts and Middlesex Wildlife Trust said you have to have a net biodiversity gain, don't you? That's not being produced. I called it on those things. That will hopefully get it to, if they want to pursue it any further, they'll come to the committee. These first 2 points will be addressed. There's a lot of incidental matters, as you know. I mean, I raised the question of on a private road, you've got block paving down. You can get a lot of traffic up and down. I'm thinking that every lorries. It's a civil matter. Look, you can't say the council, you know, I don't know if you've got a management committee or not, that would probably take care of. But at the end of the day, you're, as a block of houses, 1 to 9, you're responsible for the upkeep of the road, aren't you? If they chew it up, you don't go to district council to say, here's the money to repair it. At the end of the day, it will end up with a civil matter. You approaching me, development. 4 houses, but you still need a lot of bricks and things, don't you? I mean, all unadopted roads like yours are all coming. Everything comes off a main road these days. It's being unadopted, isn't it? Highways will not adopt a road unless it links to another one. But that was my concern. But I got the answer, which I thought I would. I did a question. The upkeep of the road, it's not a concern of the council. In this case, it's a civil matter between you and the developer. I need to clear up, right? This appointment needs washing. But I've called it in, so it's a question really of watch this space.
Thank you, councillor Paul. Any other comments from councillors on this one? Right. So I think I'm getting the sense that committee is minded towards refusal on the basis that it's an inappropriate development on a greenbelt site, and the points around flooding and ecology, I think, were important ones that we should pick out. I'm not 100% sure that that's what council is minded to, so I will put it to a vote and see. Who would be in favour of recommending refusal on that basis? I think I judged that quite accurately. In that case, that was. I don't need to do another vote, do I? That's sorted. Perfect. So that's that one done. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like, but if you don't want to sit through the rest of them, you're also welcome to head off now that we've discussed the one.
Thank you for the offer, but
No worries. Have a good evening. Okay, I will now direct councillors' attention to page 19, 2021 3038 at 16 Townsend Lane. Again, I'll ask members of your comments, and then I'll ask a member of the public to speak for up to 3 minutes. Your observations on this.
So this proposal is a resubmission following refusal by the local planning authority of the last application based on design, scale and bulk. The new proposals detailed show replacement of gabled roofs with hipped roofs in order to reduce the bulk. There are no changes to the height of the eaves, with a planning statement concluding that various other properties in the conservation area, including those at 8, 10 and 21 Townsend Lane, also share the same eaves height to the proposal. However, height still remains overbearing with regard to neighbouring properties and the street scene. Windows on the side elevation to be obscurely glazed in order to ensure no loss of amenity. 3 parking spaces to be provided. Air source heat pump to be sited on the side of the existing garden room at the end of the garden. Consider recommend refusal. There do not appear to be sufficient changes to the proposed application in order to address the previous reasons for refusal. Therefore, the proposal remains an overdevelopment of the site. Development policies. Okay.
I will now hand over to the member of the public to speak for up to 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name's Dean Jelfs. I'm the owner of the property. I'm a chartered engineer and a low carbon consultant and have lived in the area for over 20 years. We're currently living in the existing 3-bedroom house. We have 4 children attending local schools who are currently sharing camp beds and sleeping in our dining room. We're desperate to attain the right space for our family. There are simply so few 5-bedroom family homes available in central Hertfordshire. We engaged a renowned and local architect that is the leader of the Hertfordshire Rebirth Association and a planning consultant to assist in the planning process. I understand there are 4 principal points of discussion I'd like to address. One is the size and bulk. I really want to refer you to the street scene drawings provided that identify the new dwelling is sympathetically in relationship with the neighbouring properties, both up and down the hill, that clearly demonstrates the development is within existing roof and development lines. The existing width has been maintained. We've amended the roof design considerably by making them hipped to preserve light and space to our neighbours and to reduce the bulk. I urge you to consider all our neighbours, including the Bourne and the Coppice, that are much more dominant and taller, not solely number 14. I refer you to the overlays of recently approved designs in Townsend Lane, including numbers 8, 10 and 21, that demonstrate that our proposal is no larger or higher with comparable roof and eaves heights. Our proposal is not overdevelopment. Our street contains comparable 5 and 6 bedroom houses on smaller plots than ours. We have consulted with our neighbours. They are happy with our design, and if needed, will provide comments of support. Point number 2 is the air source heat pumps. They are shown located in our rear garden, sited against our garden roof, and mitigating factors include: they are hidden from view by fencing and our garden room. They are located greater than 1 metre from any boundary. They meet recognised noise criteria, effectively the noise of a refrigerator. They run predominantly in winter, and during the summer, they only operate for hot water demand. We have provided technical details and are expecting to work with building control to verify compliance. The third point is conservation. We're not locally listed. Townsend Lane contains a variety of housing with a common architectural style, and similar houses have recently been demolished in Longcroft and Park Avenue South. Also with parking, we believe 3 parking spaces are more than enough, and District Council and Highways have never raised an objection. To conclude, we're not a developer who is going to maximise the site. We want to build a sustainable family home for ourselves and my children. We want a house of high quality that meets the low carbon agenda, and this is an opportunity to showcase good design with a progressive council that can address the climate emergency sympathetically. Thank you for your time.
That was 2 minutes and 58 seconds, so absolutely perfect on the 3 minutes.
Sorry for the rush.
No. Perfect. No, sorry, you pointed something out to me during that.
Yes, it was just when I was checking the St Albans website, there were some letters of objection on there. And there were also concerns raised from the Herts Fire and Rescue Service regarding the distance for the fire appliances to the furthest part of the dwelling. So they've got a few concerns there as well, just to make.
Are the objectors local to the property?
Well, they will be local, but I'm not sure exactly without going into the website as well.
Any comments from councillors on this?
Can I just comment, Chair, on the fire issue? That's a surprise to me. I suspect they should look at some of the other houses in that street that have been built, and there's certainly one, I would guess, they would have the same question. They've never raised any issues in relation to access to the rear of the property. So I suspect that's an irrelevance, to be honest.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Turnbull. Any other comments from councillors?
Can I comment more?
Yes, sorry, Councillor Turnbull, then Councillor.
I actually, well, I think the previous applications, there were a problem with bulk, etc. Having seen the new plans and having also taken the liberty of walking down into the back garden of the flat, adjoining flats, whether I was trespassing or not is another matter, and looking at the proposed development from the rear, looking into your garden over your fence, etc. My reaction is that there's no overlooking, there's no dominance there for the simple reason the land slopes away. Any other properties are significantly away from your boundaries. I think the hip roof solution is much better than our previous objections, and on balance, I would actually approve it.
Thank you, Councillor Turnbull. Councillor Drake.
Yeah, this street it is very, very mixed in terms of styles and sizes of house, which actually make it very difficult to judge. That picture makes the point exactly. To judge whether something is of an inappropriate bulk or inappropriate size or over dominance is a very difficult judgment to make, and drawings don't always help with that. Not be able to see it in practice. Plus, there is a slope on that hill there going down from left to right. So it's very difficult to judge. It is a sizable plot. I think the new design, I agree with Councillor Turnbull, is improved over the previous one that we saw and has tried to take account of the objections. The only one that I'm not sure of at this stage is whether or not there has been a report relating to the disturbance that might be caused by the heat pump. I'm not sure that whether there's a report with the application that covers that or not.
There is a report. Because it's set so far away from the house and it's further down the garden, I can't see that it's going to be a problem.
All right.
Because did you see the sheet that I sent round to you? I forwarded a information sheet.
Yes, I think I did.
Yeah, so I think regarding distances and so on, I don't think it's going to be a problem personally.
Okay, I mean, fair to say, I also walked down the street, though I wasn't quite as intrepid as my fellow councillor. I wasn't quite so intrepid as that. But yes, I think on the basis of that, there has been some improvement. And on the basis that, look, some comfort to the heat pump, because I was going to suggest that we wouldn't object, but subject to being satisfactory evidence of non-disturbance of the heat pump. But in that case, I'd be prepared to not pursue that point.
Any further comments from councillors?
No.
Councillor Farmer.
I was going to say, I would agree with the comments and say, I mean, personally, I would be inclined to just get down the route of no objection, subject to previous reasons for refusal having been met.
Councillor Paul, did I see a hand from you?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to say why district council didn't like it last time, and what's the change now? How much is it reduced? But I think we talked that through, I think, on the basis that it needs to go forward again as it is. I think we can recommend.
Councillor Hill.
Quite often we go no objection subject to no loss of immunity to neighbouring, just as a sort of insurance policy against whatever district council might find. So I wonder if that might be a sort of compromise between a recommend refusal and no objection.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Any further comments on this one? Okay. I think trying to pull all of that together into a recommendation, I think committee might be minded for no objection subject to previous reasons for refusal being addressed and Councillor Hill's point about no loss of immunity to neighbouring properties. I think that sort of pulls together everything, but I will again just ask for a vote on that to be absolutely sure. Perfect, that's unanimous. So that's our recommendation. Again, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I suspect you may have better things to be doing with your Tuesday.
I was going to bring my whole family up here and they are waiting outside, so
That's okay.
and thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Have a good evening. Okay, so back to page 13 for 5/2021 2794 at 112 Crabtree Lane. Sorry, did I go too quickly?
Yeah, you did. Right. So, here we go. So this property is sited along the side of the access road to Crabtree allotments with parking for 2 vehicles at the rear of the property. First floor side extension is to be built on the existing single-storey side extension. Part single, part 2-storey rear extension is shown to be positioned away from the neighbouring property, with the 2-storey element extending 3 metres from the original part of the existing house, followed by an additional 2 metres of the single-storey element. The proposal does not appear to create any detrimental impact on the neighbouring property. The 45-degree line appears to be satisfactory. Parking is sufficient for the increase in bedroom accommodation. Consider no objection. No letters of objection have actually been received on the council website. So here you can see the actual bird's eye view, and this is the property here with the road leading to the allotments here, and they're going to build on there. And this is the existing elevations, and this is the proposed elevations.
Thank you, Mim. Any comments from councillors on this one? Councillor Hill.
Yeah, this is a road no cop. And I mean, I've often walked past it and thought it's a bit ugly, to be honest. It kind of looked, so this is an improvement because it looks like a bit of a, not a botched extension out the side, but it always looked a bit, it looks a bit awkward.
Yes.
So I think it's rounded off quite nicely.
Thank you.
The road well, I think that's a good word.
that you get the hill. Any other comments on this one? Councillor Paul.
If you read the description of what they're doing, it sounds a lot. When you look at the picture, it's not really. Making it more presentable, obviously the indoor, inside space is better.
Any further comments on this one? No, in that case, we mind to go with the recommendation, no objection? Perfect. Okay, 2021-2957 at land, ooh, that's a long title, land adjacent to Unit C, Batford Mill, Lower Luton Road, Hampton. Your observations on this one?
Okay. So this is, this application site has the River Lee behind it and therefore falls into flood zone 2, with part of the site falling within the Metropolitan Greenbelt. To the east and west of the proposed site are trees which are subject to preservation orders and which are separated from the site by a post and rail fence. Flood risk assessment has been carried out which shows no risk of flooding from the River Lee due to there being a sloping height difference between the site and the river. Proposed additional parking area is minimal and provides parking for 4 vehicles in order to alleviate on-site parking problems for the increase in production at CES Electricals. As only it be only operational during working hours when the main car park is full. Limited impact on the Greenbelt area due to the use of grasscrete and additional landscaping can be added to the proposal if required by the local planning authority. There's no loss or impact on trees. Previous permission for a similar application has been given to Unit 3 Batford Mill in 2016. Consider no objection. There have been lots of comments from local people and businesses, mainly in favour. There's been about 3 or 4 objections. Highways had no objection. The Environment Agency had no objection, but stated that they will require a flood risk activity permit. So if I just show you here, this is where the one that was granted, and this is where they want to put the little car park area there. And this is the area here to put it. Yeah, so it's just these 2 plants here, basically.
Any comments from councillors on this one? Councillor Paul.
Is it grass now?
Yeah.
Well,
It's a grass area, so where that yellow arrow is, it's just a grass area at the moment.
don't there's a flooding issue because the river runs really fast, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's that area is sloping down.
Concrete, putting hard standing down from grass is not a good idea.
I'm going to put grass create as well.
If you've got a big dip.
Councillor Turnbull.
Thanks, Chair. Just an observation. Is this application from the landlord? Was this?
Yes.
It is the
Yes,
landlord,
yeah.
okay. Otherwise, I was wondering who the ownership of the site was. The landlord, okay, thank you.
Any further comments on this one? I can't see any. In that case, we mind to go with the recommendation of no objection. Perfect.
Nice. 5/2021-2982 does not meet the criteria. So on to 5/2021-2930 at 66 Grove Road. Your observations on this one?
Okay, so this proposed extension to the side of the property is to be sited back from both the front and rear building lines and is to incorporate existing bedroom accommodation. Reason for the proposal is to give sufficient headspace to the existing bedrooms and to also incorporate further ensuite. 3 existing parking spaces, which are sufficient. Proposal does not appear to impact on neighbouring properties or the street scene, and although the hedgerow is to be reduced, this is only a slight reduction to allow for the extension. The proposal remains subservient to the original dwelling house. Consider no objection, and no letters of objection have been received either. So This is the area that they're going to do the build. And that's the existing. And this is where they're going to just extend out with a small loft area there. And then you can see the floor plans. Just going to do an area there.
Do you show the comparison between the existing and the proposed again?
Pardon?
Could you show the comparison between 9 and 10 again?
Yeah, that's 9.
Is it on your screen?
Yeah.
I can see it on your
Oh
screen.
no, I can't see them.
Yeah.
So that one there. Oh, there you go. It's better.
That's the existing, is it?
That was the existing.
Yeah.
My apologies.
That's the new one.
And that's the new one.
So my only concern with this application,
Mhm.
and it might be that I looked at the pictures wrong on the one where it's the aerial view. There didn't look to be that much amenity space left after you've done an extension.
On the area, do you want to go back to the area view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 7, I think.
I didn't show you number 8, did I?
Unless it's a particularly bad angle on that aerial view, that doesn't look like a lot of amenity space left.
I think he's foreshortened a bit by the angle.
Yes.
Quite possible.
Yeah, it looks like there's more. Yeah. I think it was just the angle. I was a little bit concerned when I saw the pictures.
Do you think they built in the back garden
What, here?
there?
That's a separate property.
It's part of their property, is it?
It's a separate one.
Yeah,
I suspect someone has built in the back
Yeah.
garden.
yeah, so I'm just wondering if somebody's built in the back garden, which would be why the.
I mean, I still think there's an awful lot of house relative to the size of plot, but can't really begrudge them too much if it's sort of legal amounts of amenity. Any further comments from councillors on this one? Can't see any. In that case, are we minded to go with the recommendation as set out? All in favour? So 5/2021/2994 doesn't meet the criteria, neither does 2753. So we're on to, well, that also doesn't meet the criteria, so neither does 2912. So we're on to 5/2021/2944 and 12 Tondwick Road. Observations on this.
Right, okay, so this is a resubmission of previous planning application with changes to meet reasons for refusal. The existing entrance is to be retained with carport and storage to the north of the site having been removed, thereby increasing the distance to the boundary with Claygate Avenue, and a small storage area added to the southern side for bicycles. More substantial planting screen introduced in this area in order to screen the new dwelling. The existing property is a 4-bedroom property and the new property will accommodate 5 bedrooms. The application shows cat slide effect roof facing onto Claygate Avenue, which has been lowered from the original application. This property is proposing to be a sustainable dwelling house in order to meet the policies of ESD 15 of the Harpenden Neighbourhood Plan. Consider no objection subject to previous reasons for refusal being addressed and provided that there is no loss of amenity to number 10 Pondwick Road and the appearance of the street scene. So this is the property here, and that's the front view of it. This is the existing, and this is the proposed. Okay, and this is the existing and the proposed.
Sorry, I can't see on the
Oh, sorry.
distance.
Okay.
It doesn't look nearly as sort of dominant as the previous version, does it?
No, I recall the previous one. The previous one was,
Ski slope.
yes, exactly.
Slightly less neo-American cathedral.
Yes. It's a cat slide roof.
It's like really sharp.
So the cats would slide down.
Yeah.
It's a,
People who do have some very imaginative.
probably the quite common in America is probably for raccoons to slide down. Yes, they have substantially reduced the cat slide, but it wasn't very dominant.
Very big. Any further comments from councillors on this? No. Councillor Paul?
They seem to have done a lot of work, don't they? Reasons for refusal.
Any other comments? I can't see any. In that case, we mind to go the recommendation as set out. All in favour? Okay, on to 5/20/21/2949, that's 1 Overston Road. Or observations on this one.
Right, okay, so a two-storey front element to extend the hall and upstairs bathroom by approximately 1 metre. The existing parking space is to be reallocated elsewhere on the property frontage. The proposed two-storey element of the rear extension is set away from the attached neighbouring property number 3 Overston Road and does not appear to create any detrimental impact with the single-storey aspect set against the neighbouring boundary. There is sufficient distance between the host dwelling and the neighbouring property 1A Overstone Road for no impact. No additional bedrooms, therefore no changes to existing parking required. No trees or hedges will be affected. Consider no objection provided there'll be no loss of amenity to neighbouring property number 3 Overstone Road. And there again, you can see the property marked out on the bird's eye view. And there it is there. There's not a lot of parking, as you can see. And that car, large.
It's like large, looks like a boat park, isn't it?
That's the existing. And then you can see they've altered in there.
Like that way around.
It might be. Okay, so.
Thank you. Any comments from councillors on this one? Got a hand, councillor Turnbull?
No, I'm
Just
just,
waving your pen.
just saying, no.
Any comments? No. In that case, we mind to go the recommendation as set out. All in favour? Perfect. 5/20/21/2963, 2969. 2977, all don't meet the criteria for consideration. So on to 5/20/21/2984, number 6 Broadfields. Your observations on this one?
Okay, property positioned centrally on its plot. Proposed two-storey front and side element of the proposal is to be sited near to the boundary of neighbouring property number 8. But it is sufficiently pulled in, and due to the staggered layout of the properties, there does not appear to be any loss of amenity or detrimental impact with regard to the 45-degree rule. The proposed two-storey rear extension on the opposite side of the property also poses no loss of amenity to neighbouring property number 4 Broadfields. The proposed changes to the dwelling include additional bedroom accommodation from 3 to 5, with parking provision remaining unchanged, 2 spaces and a garage, although it appears that more could be made available if necessary. The application states that there are trees on site, but that none will need to be removed or pruned. Consider no objection, subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties. There you can see how they're staggered on the plots. And there you can see these are the different elements of the changes that are to be made. That's the existing. And there's the proposed. Okay.
Thank you, Mim. Any comments from councillors? Councillor Drake.
The parking provision that Mim alludes to, the accommodation goes to 5 bedrooms. There's only two spaces and a garage. Does that count there for us 3 spaces?
Yeah.
So there would be sufficient parking in theory.
Yeah.
Okay. Because this actually to me does look like quite a bulky development on that street. It does look quite substantial. Again, it's difficult to picture this from drawings, but it does feel like it really will be quite a bulky, overbearing building as it stands.
Is the gallery on that picture?
I have to look at it here.
Sorry.
It's there. There's the garage there.
That is big enough to have a car on it.
Mm.
Do we have any elevational drawings, Miriam?
Hell,
I think when I looked at this, I was ambivalent about the
size.
size.
Yes, the fact that the buildings are staggered does mitigate.
There was, I think there was a letter of objection from, I think it's Townsend, is it Townsend Road, Townsend Lane or Pines? And they were concerned about overlooking.
Yes, there were 2 letters of objection.
And there were some pictures that from the back garden of the house behind this one, from the back garden.
Yes.
It showed that there could be quite high potential for overlooking, I thought.
Oh, we can see, we can't see anything.
No, it's sort of, it's the road, yeah, so behind that, yeah, there's a house that's there, which I think that's either Townsend Road or Townsend Lane.
Townsend Lane.
Townsend Lane, yes.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't.
Not a lot of detail on the plan.
It says 2-story, but there's, it goes quite high into the roof.
Yeah, they have raised the roof.
Yeah, you can see from the drawings, it's like Velux windows.
Is there an elevation? Do you see the elevations? I see not on the screen.
No. We're back to old fashioned paper and ink.
This is the proposal.
Yes. Which is this one here on the screen. It's not very clear on the screen, unfortunately.
It's quite difficult to see.
Yeah.
Need to invest in a larger screen.
Yeah, it's not too bad actually, I think.
Chairman of Finance, I'll take that under.
I'm confusing that with another one. I think that's my own view is that's probably okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the window to window distance is probably okay from.
Right,
It is quite a deep, looking at that aerial view again, that does imply there is quite a length of garden, isn't there?
Yes, it's quite a distance.
There is quite a distance there, and I assume there's a similar
And
sort
there's
of
quite a distance from the other side of the hedge, as it were.
Yeah, if that's the case, then
it's quite an open street.
yeah, and maybe the size will obviously be less impacted. And I agree with Councillor Palmer that the staggering actually helps here in this particular instance.
They're also not going above the site height of the current chimney, apart from with the chimney, if that makes sense.
Okay. We have got subject to no loss of immunity to do.
Yeah.
So assuming that includes behind this district officers thought that was a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments on this one? I can't see any. In that case, we mind to go with the recommendation as set out. All in favour? You cold, Councillor Farmer. Do you turn the heating up for next meeting?
It's on, it's on. Not for nothing was I know there's a little hothouse clock. I don't like the cold.
Yes.
John, so that's for our wish list. There's a bigger screen and heating on at a higher temperature for the Finance Committee.
Noted and.
I don't turn the heating up just because I have to feel the cold.
On to 5/2021 2996 and 26 Park Avenue North. Your observations on this one?
Okay, this is a resubmitted application which shows reduction to proposed height from 9.81 metres to 9.31 metres, with the overall width and depth also reduced by 1 metre. The distance that the new property proposes from the street has been reduced by 0.5, 13 to 13.5 metres. Survey figures show that similar properties along this road have the same or similar building aligned curb distances. The concerns with regards to the loss of trees which may affect neighbouring properties appear to have been addressed. Consider no objection, subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties and subject to no detrimental impact on the surrounding conservation area. There are letters of objection on the St Albans website. There is a new amended block plan which shows some reductions, but they are very small reductions, to be fair. So I'll just show you. I haven't put them up on the screen because I only got them about 4 or 5 o'clock tonight. So I had already sent this out. There you can see the house. Again, that's the house as it looks on the street scene. It's the existing plan.
That's the proposal, is it?
No,
That's the existing.
that's the proposal.
Okay.
We considered this reasonably recently.
Yeah, so they've pulled it in by a metre here, well, all round really.
On trees, Mim,
Yeah.
I know that you said the loss of trees which may affect neighbouring properties appears to have been addressed. I've noted that last time we had concerns about a 2-to-1 ratio. Are there
Yeah.
still trees being taken out?
No, they haven't taken any out. We had concerns about some of the trees along here. This is the last proposal, and you'll see from this one that they've put some in here and they've put some in along here. So the planting, they've taken on board our concerns about neighbouring properties and, you know, loss of view and everything. So I can't remember exactly what other trees. They haven't taken any out along here. Along here, our concerns were these ones, as I remember rightly. Which they seem to have.
I mean, I calculated that the depth of the property from front to rear is still about 20.5 metres, which is a pretty big span.
Yeah.
There are some fairly hefty properties.
True.
Yeah,
On balance, I actually said okay.
Yeah. I think
It's
with
20
those changes,
metres,
I'm
isn't it?
much more in favour than I was previously.
Yes, and I don't think in size terms now, it's not out of kilter with other properties on the road in terms of size.
I still wouldn't like the heating bill once it's built.
Any other comments from councillors on this one? I can't see any. In that case, it would mind to go the recommendation as set out. All in favour? Perfect. 5, 2021, 2, 999 does not meet the criteria. Neither does 3028. Be considered the next one. So on to 5, 2021, 3001, 41 Sibley Avenue. No observations on this one.
All right.
But yeah, we
Give me a
considered.
second. Yeah, that's fine. Right, okay, here we go. So, this property is set on a reasonably sized plot in a tree-lined street, and proposal shows single-storey side and rear extension on the neighbouring side of number 43 Sibley Avenue, with sufficient distance between the properties. This element of the proposal is shown to be flat roofed with roof lights and doesn't appear to impact the neighbouring property. An extension to the porch at the front of the property is minimal, and the first floor side extension, which sides onto number 39 Sibley Avenue, is set back due to the positioning and angling of the dwellings along this stretch of the road. The proposed window in the first floor elevation will be glazed with opaque glass and non-opening, and therefore there doesn't appear to be any loss of amenity. No increase in bedrooms, these remaining at 5, just rearrangement of rooms and increases to existing bathroom and en-suites. One small ornamental flowering cherry tree appears to be removed in the front garden of the property to allow for parking arrangements for 3 vehicles, which is sufficient for the proposal, as the existing garage is to remain. Consider no objection. So again, this is the property here and here. That's the little cherry tree that disappeared. Hasn't already. So this is the existing. This is the change, so you can see a single storey extension here. There's parking around here. And there you can see property in line with other properties. So that this property here is set at an angle, and the actual building line here is set away, so there's no 45-degree there. Okay.
Just on the point of the cherry tree, are there any details of replacements for that?
No, but I don't think really you can force that one, to be honest.
We could mention it in the
Yeah.
hope that they see our comments and
Well, they could
feel.
always put a replacement little ornamental cherry tree on the little
Exactly.
bit there.
Exactly.
I mean,
I don't mind where they put it, to be honest.
Well, it could, yes. I'm just pointing out in front that there is room to put an ornamental
Yes.
tree on the little green semicircle.
Yes, I was going to say the same. I mean, I don't want to nitpick about this because I think the general proposal is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit of the principle of the taking out. I understand why they're taking that tree out. It makes absolute sense to the development. But to say they couldn't find the space to replant and replace, I don't think that's about refusing this one in this case. But I think we should absolutely mention that people welcome or something, a replacement or it doesn't be a cherry tree, it could be anything to mention it.
Technically, ornamental cherry trees to meet the neighbourhood plan criteria. No, I think if we just add a small piece of language in about no
Yes,
objection,
no,
but
take
you know,
that.
the council notes that a tree is being replaced, being taken out, and it would be good if this was replaced along the lines of the town councils, whatever the policy is. Some language that's sort of suitably flowery, but that pun was unintentional.
I suspect the LPA wouldn't and be forced
I
to.
don't think so for 1 minute.
Is that all agreed?
Are we all in favour of that? Perfect. Right. 5, 2021, 3044 doesn't meet the criteria. Neither does 5, 2021, 3034. So on to 5/2021/2988 at number 20 Amonbury Lane. Your observation on this one?
Right, so this proposal is for a single-storey rear extension which extends along the existing rear building line from the side boundary, with the garage incorporated into the front of the main building and being utilised as a study. No detrimental impact on neighbouring properties in terms of loss of amenity. Loss of the garage may result in detrimental impact on this section of Amonbury Lane due to its width and current parking of vehicles. Installation of an air source heat pump to be installed on the front side elevation of the dwelling, which is sited facing onto the drive, with possible sufficient distancing from neighbouring properties so as to create no detrimental impact in terms of noise. Size will be 1 metre wide by 1 metre high by 48 centimetres deep, power level 60 decibels. Consider express concern regarding the loss of the garage, which may create issues in relation to parking on the road and the resulting detrimental impact on the streets. Right, okay, so this is, that's the house there. I see what's on. This is the house there, this is the drive. Okay, so this is the proposal. That's where the heat pump is, just there, that little arrow there. Okay. And a single-storey rear extension there. Okay, so it's only a small extension. It's more about, I think I had more concerns about the parking than anything else because of where it is and so on and so forth.
You got any details of what I may have missed it? What is the parking on drive without the garage? How far short is it?
So what did I say? Let's see. No, I don't know. They've said no parking will be altered in any way, but if they're losing the garage,
They're not using their garage. But
I suppose if it's Amonbury Lane, I've just got to go, it's too small to put a car in.
so that's the front of
I'll call this one in. There's a test case on the air source heat pump location, conservation area, the side of the property, isn't it?
conservation.
Yeah, but the applicant hasn't had a go at it yet, but he probably will. I actually said this call in specifically relates to the proposed installation of thermal air source heat pump, nothing else objected to. So it's just the trouble is that district council, we're not getting many of these come forward at the moment. If we do, we're not getting much advice. We also see them go a lot more week. Basically, these things are happening, and we have to sort of, work it out on the day.
That's the only picture there is of the front of the house. I couldn't get a picture of the front of
It's
the
on the
house.
side, isn't it?
Pardon?
The heat pump on the side of the wall.
Yes. Yeah.
I suspect you can't see it from the road.
No, it's well hidden behind the fence and so on.
I suspect that's right. I suspect you can't get it rather than that garage.
No.
And the heat pump, the test will be once the number of it from an installed and operational, but I suspect a lot may depend on, is there any echoing effect from them between buildings, other than bushes to sort of to muffle the sound? It's
Sound will bounce off, won't it?
exactly, I'm sure of it in some cases.
We don't have any information about how much parking there is, so I think we have to express concern in,
Yes.
Agreed.
if there not being any other evidence. Any other comments from councillors on this one? No. In that case, we're minded to go with the recommendation set out. done 16 Townsend Lane. So on to, where am I? 5/2021/3008 at 16 Manland Way. Observations on this.
Right, okay, so the proposal site is opposite Sir John Law's School on a fairly narrow road with parking restrictions. Single-storey side and rear extension is to be built to the side boundary but shows no impact on neighbouring property, with the first floor side extension pulled in away from the neighbouring building line. The extensions appear to respect 45-degree rule. The front first floor extension will incorporate a fourth bedroom and extend the third bedroom. The loss of the garage into habitable space leaves two remaining parking spaces, which are insufficient provision for the increase in bedroom accommodation. Consider recommend refusal due to insufficient parking provision. And I was just concerned about the area that it was in, opposite the school, etc., etc. So there you can see the property. That is the property there, the one with the blue garage. Other properties seem to have a lot wider, sort of they've made more allowances for parking and so on. But I mean, if this is sort of building, taking away the garage and so on, it's not going to leave a lot of parking. So I was a little bit concerned about it,
Although
to be honest.
it looks like they've got the space in front of the house to enlarge the parking area.
Yeah,
Looking at the street view.
Wouldn't like to encourage them to take down the trees.
I was going to say, one thing I will do is to then increase the parking at the expense of the trees. But I think it's difficult to tell from that picture exactly how much space there is between the hedgerow and, of course, any.
Yeah, well, it's difficult to tell, although it looks like there's some lawn going round there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's difficult to tell.
The house next door has obviously got a lot of parking installed, and it's just all hard standing as
Yes.
well, rather than borders.
Yeah.
they're doing a front first floor extension as well. So if they're bringing that forward,
So they're bringing it forward.
then they'll lose space.
I mean, I think it wouldn't always be a big issue, but it is an issue there because it's location opposite school. And that road gets quite tricky.
No one parks in the bring it
No.
where the garage.
Well, I mean, there's large chunks of it you can't park.
Yeah.
Here,
They can't even.
so they are going to lose a bit of
Most of that
space
bit of
in this
land
area
has
here.
got restricted parking.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's place.
I mean, can I just make the point, in the previous property was a loss of garage. And that wasn't an issue.
I
And
think,
now we're saying in this one that there's loss of garage. And this is an issue.
but I think part of the point with this one is its location opposite Sir John
Right
Lawrence.
opposite school.
Yeah.
Have you got the aerial view site? So what, left at the front?
I think if you go up to 55, I think that might do it. Bit shadowy.
Yeah, it's very shadowy, isn't it?
Google man went round with his satellite at the wrong time of day.
It's not really.
I think if we are refusing on the parking on the basis of the location, we should probably include that in the recommendation in case that isn't clear to,
Location should be mentioned.
in case that isn't clear to whoever it is at St Albans that's doing it. Otherwise, any other comments from councillors on this one? Can't see any. With that minor tweak, we mind to go with the recommendation? All in favour? Okay. 5/2021/3117 criteria, nor does 3119. So we're on to 5/2021/2967 at 18 Ox Lane.
Okay, so this property is a large property in the conservation area. based on a fairly large plot and set back from one of its neighbouring properties. The proposals for a new roof height at the bridge and pitch, which will alter the height by approximately 1 metres. Two new dormer windows in the loft area at the rear of the property, new gable infilling the balcony area and extending to the loft area, new external porch at the front of the property with a new slate roof to match the existing and a new bay window on the front, single-storey extension to be replaced with a flat UPVC window. Consider no objections, subject to no detrimental impact on the street scene and the Harpenden conservation area. So there you can see it takes up quite a large area on its plot, and it continues down here. There again, you can see it's got quite a lot of parking in there. There again, that's the existing. See, this is the proposed. Takes up a lot on its plot. I don't know if I've got any good pictures here, which
Is that in the back garden? Two dash those.
that
Swimming pool.
lawn and swimming pool. So you can probably see on
A small
this,
lawn.
like this area here. They've got a balcony and they want to fill it in, which you can probably see on here somewhere. Where are we? There's the balcony. Right, so I don't know if you can see
Yes.
there. So that balcony there, they want to infill it. And which is a bit, put a new gable on it and some dormer windows in as well. Where are they?
That's the existing.
Oh, can't see the dormer windows.
That's the existing there.
Oh, existing. Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Right, so there's the dormer window. So that's where the balcony was, and they've infilled it.
Is this property in the conservation, in
Yes.
the conservation, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where they've made the changes. Raise the roof height fractionally by a metre.
The plot is actually a lot deeper than it looked on that plan when someone said it was a lot on the plot.
It goes
all the way
long
back.
ways.
It's quite well set back from the road, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite a long way.
It goes long ways, but it fills it sideways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of the rather large windows where the balcony was,
There.
yeah, those ones.
Yeah.
If you're living opposite it, over those windows.
Right, so exit.
It has no rear neighbour that's within sight
Isn't that
line.
the front? Oh, that's the rear.
That's the back.
Okay.
It's got a really, really, really long garden.
You need binoculars to see into the next door.
But don't you ultimately end up in the school? St George's
There's
School?
another road behind it.
I don't know the area.
Is there?
Yeah,
No,
there's little side roads.
Yeah,
aren't
there's
there?
a
Yeah, side, yes.
It's a little way.
Sorry, I'm shocked at that because I'm pointing at a very small piece of paper from the other side of the room.
It's on the north side of the south side of the street.
I remember the
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there's some big properties on that road, especially on that side. I mean, anywhere else I might be a bit concerned about. I mean, a meter, not a lot, but
This is on the south side, is it?
the north side,
It's in
north
east,
side of the road.
yeah.
That's the right side going down.
It's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like outside if you're going down. It's
Yes, so in fact, it almost does go on to Yeah, I knew it was a long, long garden.
That's in car park.
Yeah.
This is the plan. We've got a lot of space in front, a lot of space. Yes,
It goes right down to the end. Jarvis did a big development of Swansea Avenue,
Yeah.
backland development. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
My only comment, if we're looking for comments, Chair, is if it's in the conservation zone, why did it talk about a PVC window? I thought it had to be wooden on the front elevation.
it's just one windows, it's not the whole house.
Even still, I was made to put windows in my house.
They'll probably push use up there.
I think we're covering that off with no detrimental impact on the conservation area. For the sake of one plastic window.
We've got policy 85 in there.
Any other comments from councillors on this one? I can't see any. In that case, we minded to go with the recommendation as set out. All in favour? Perfect. 5/2021/3101 doesn't meet the criteria, so on to right, long names today. 5/2021/3107 at land rear of 15, 17 and 19 Tuffnells Way.
Okay, so this proposal is to be sited on the rear gardens behind numbers 15, 17 and 19 Tuffnells Way and is for 3 4-bedroom detached houses with associated parking. Gardens of the properties in Tuffnells Way are sufficiently large enough to allow for development, leaving enough amenity space for the existing properties. A 1.8 metre close bordered fence is shown to be installed to divide the existing with the proposed dwellings. The new properties will front onto Osprey Close and will be sited next to existing property number 4 Osprey Close, and the existing road will be extended further to allow for the additional 3 dwellings. Trees and hedging will be removed from the rear gardens of Tuffnells Way to allow for the development, but replacement planting will take place along the rear boundary of the new dwellings and also along the rear boundary of 19A Wood End Lane, which backs onto the development in order to create screening and protect the amenity of all properties concerned. Ecological appraisal has given recommendations with regards to bird nesting. Parking provisions shown as plot 5 with 2 parking spaces and bike storage, plot 6 and 7 with 2 parking spaces and a garage each. Consider no objection in principle, however, express concerns with regards to insufficient parking provision. And then policy T11 of parking and labour plan, policy 40.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just a quick one before we do anything else. Is there not a plot 8? Because there's 4 properties.
No, there were 3.
But there are 3.
3 4-bedroom.
3. Sorry, do
Yeah.
forgive me. I'm having a moment.
Right, okay, so there you can see the area at the back of the 3 properties in Tuffnells. And there you can see the proposed properties at the end of Osprey Close. And this is 19A Wood End Lane. Okay, and that's the rear of it, I believe. All these little round circles along here, that's all the replacement planting. This is the tree plan. You can see the trees that are going to be sort of taken out or replaced and so on and so forth. I can't remember what the blue and the red was for, unfortunately. I think. Right, so this line along here, this is the hedging. Okay. I know they're going to keep a lot of these big trees here that are very important ones, and they're just going to take out the necessary ones to build where they need to build. And it's Jarvis Home, so they're very aware of what they need to do. Here you go. You can see here, these are the necessary big ones that they're keeping. And then the planting plan here, you can see the 3 properties. This is plot number 5, so you can see the 2 parking spaces, and I think they've done a cycle shed there. But these 2 here have got a garage with 2 parking spaces. Okay.
They've actually done quite a good job on the trees.
Mm,
I'm not going to count them, but
I did.
Yeah.
At least they've recognised the point.
Yeah. Councillor Turner.
No, thanks, Chair. My only slight concern here is the access. You know, it's a pretty narrow, if you look at the plan, you're putting now going to be 6 houses in here. It's only really a 1-lane access and egress site. And I'm wondering, is there enough turning circle there for emergency vehicles going into these 3 plots? And then could an emergency vehicle turn there? Is there enough space?
Yeah, they've allowed there.
They have,
That's
have they?
sufficient for a fire
Okay,
truck to
that's what
turn.
they say.
Any other comments? Councillor Lowe.
Can I just check on terms of parking? How many parking spaces should there be per house?
A 4-bedroom house, there should be 3 parking spaces.
So there's not enough.
So that plot number 5 is 1 short, but the others are sufficient.
Because they've got a garage.
Yes, it's strange. So the 2, there's a 5, which is the top one of the new ones. It doesn't have a garage.
No.
It has 2 spaces. There were 2 spaces up the front. The other 2 have 2 spaces and a garage.
Yeah.
So I mean, assume they can fit one in the garage on that.
Yeah, I think they had to reposition this one because they had to make sure that this plot here, number 4, wasn't overshadowed or overlooked and so on.
Councillor Paul.
It's on my patch, I've been keeping an eye on this one. So that started off as an infill off William Road. It's totally got bigger and bigger besides Jarvis, they're calling it phase 3. I don't think there's any room for phase 4 anymore down there. But having said that, I tell you what, it's quite narrow, isn't it? Past that Never Road, but next item on the agenda, I think it's also one of those on the same site, by the way. But it's Jarvis, and I obviously was why I sold off the end of their card. We still get away with enough amenity space. And do you know who got any objections yet? I haven't looked myself.
No letters of objection.
No, I saw.
Normally they jump up and down in that area, but perhaps jumping up and down will stop. I'll say no more. I'll probably go with what you're saying.
I mean, as infill developments go, I think, you know, getting an extra 3 houses in.
Because the ones which are already there, you can see from the road, I think slide 64 shows that the other one's kind of a similar size garden. So I think the actual, the size and scale of it's fine. You can see, so the same amount of space there. Seems maybe 3 seems about right.
Yeah, it's very similar to what they did off Ox Lane.
Yeah.
And the top of probably Bush Lane. On the north side, going by the railway line, you're going down the hill.
Up bridge, not the bridge at Ox Lane.
No, this is, if you're coming down Ox Lane, left-hand side.
Oh, yeah. So that's Jarvis, isn't it?
Yeah. There's 4 houses in the back line there.
Townhouse policy has encouraged using spaces. It doesn't. Yeah.
Well, it's good use of like an infill space, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than greenbelt.
I think, I mean, it's essentially extending that little close into a slightly bigger close, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's me.
It's like on this price of phase 4 comes along, it won't, there's no room left.
There's always some famous last words. Anyway, any other comments on this particular application? I can't see any. All in favour of the recommendation? Perfect. On to 5/2021/3048 at Falconer's Cottage, 1 Falconer's Fields.
Okay. So this one is currently a large bungalow sited between a shallow bungalow and a house. The street is made up of variously designed properties. The proposal is for 2 3-bedroom properties, semi-detached but staggered in position, placed on the site away from neighbouring boundaries with sufficient amenity space to meet the policy requirements. A daylight sunlight report shows no impact on neighbouring properties 1A and 3 Falconer's Field. The roof ridge heights shown to be the same as neighbouring properties. Window to window distances to rear properties shown as Unit 1 not quite meeting the required 27 metres and falling short by 2 metres. Unit 2 meeting the requirement. There appears to be screening at the rear of the property by hedging and some trees. Parking requirements are addressed by the provision of 2 parking spaces per property. A proposed drop curb is shown for number 2. Consider no objection subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties in Roundwood Lane. Okay, so here you can see the site of the bungalow. And here you can see the plan for the proposed 2 properties. And you can see where they're staggered. You can see there's 2 parking spaces here, and there's 2 parking spaces for this one. This property here, you can see there that there is slightly less distance there than this one due to the staggering and the positioning on the site. And there you can see that properties, roof heights, more or less the same as the neighbouring ones. And that's what they will look like. Okay.
I'm actually slightly concerned about the bulk, to be honest.
Yeah.
It does bother me. It looks a bit massive.
Anyone? Councillor Drake.
Yes, I mean, I share the reservation about the bulk on the site. I also regret the loss of a bungalow, but I suppose that's where we are with that.
Yes.
The distance at the back as well, I presume, is being forced by the need to provide the parking provision at the front. So, if the neighbours into whom that gap is intruded upon were to object, then that would be a point of concern, I think, because it is encroaching at the back, and it's not only encroaching, but of course it's also encroaching with increased bulk over in terms of any view that they have from the back of that house there. I don't know what their view is of that. So yes, I would share concern about the bulking on that site. It seems quite ambitious to get 2 3-bedroom semis onto a place which is currently occupied by a single bungalow.
Yes, it's really trying to squash a bit of a pint into a corner.
I agree.
Yes. Yes.
It's on that patch, I know it well, but it's shoehorning in, isn't it, 2 houses?
It is.
And it's in a tight
Yes.
patch. But
I mean, it's quite a small site to put 2 properties.
Yeah.
And the properties behind don't have, by the looks of it, particularly large
No,
gardens.
no.
So it is quite close when it's quite close.
Sorry, going to planks on it.
No, that's
I'm watching it.
You go back to slide 69, just to. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of house.
And actually, if they made that one on, I think, is it the one on the left that's got the distance problem? Yeah, you cut that line off, so you did it as a straight line rather than as a little protrudy bit.
It will, but it would obviously significantly reduce the floor space.
Oh, it would. I'm not disputing that.
Then there's enough room for a 3-bedroom, I don't know.
Reduce some of the parking space. Any other comments from councillors on this one?
You've covered the window to window distance and the height, haven't you? But it's still bulky, isn't it?
It is.
We haven't put in. I suppose bulk could be loss of amenity, roughly construed, couldn't it?
I'm not convinced that recommendation isn't getting altered, to be honest, given what we've.
Bit too weak, bit too fast.
Any other comments from councillors? No. Right. I mean, I think personally, I'd be minded towards express concern on the basis of potential loss of amenity and the bulk. Would committee be minded towards a recommendation of that kind? Unanimous? Okay. On to 5/2021 3138 at 19A Wood End Road.
Where we were just now on phase 3.
Yeah, I actually haven't done any pictures for this one. It was the revised proposal put forward following refusal of previous application. The proposed eaves and ridge height of pitched roofs of 2-storey extensions have been reduced in order to make the extended elements subservient to the host dwelling. The proposed window on the first floor front elevation will be a dummy window with obscure glazing, having blockwork on the inside, in order to balance out the look of the proposal. They seem to have.
I don't know, actually we were playing a game of tic-tac-toe.
Gosh. Basically that I felt that they'd met all the reasons from previous reasons for refusal, and so I said no objection, subject to previous reasons for refusal being addressed.
Councillor Paul, was that a hand though?
Yeah, it's I was looking more closely. This is one where PD rights were taken away.
Oh right, yeah.
That was the reason for refusal. Is a previous thing.
Is that because it's an infill?
Yeah, so the previous refusal. And the grounds of that were control the future increase in size.
I think it was taken away because of its location.
Yeah.
Sort of where they'd been when previous hospitals closed as well. Because concerns, wasn't it, that if it was over large?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was taken away so they couldn't do an overbearing development.
Well, I must admit, Chair, when I looked at this, I just had a question of bulk, question mark still.
Existing and applied for, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Those are the views.
There's no bulk. What were we actually saying on
Location bulk is the biggest.
it? Yeah, I mean, one sentence covers it really. No objection subject to previous reasons refusal being addressed, which means down district council saying you can't do it, you know. PD rights, but
You'd have thought now that road's going in behind it, they might move their driveway. Sorry, just thinking out loud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I understand the comment about the bulk. I think councillor Paul probably is about right if we've put in there about the previous reasons for refusal.
Yeah,
Um, any other comments on this one? No, we might go with that recommendation. All in favour?
So what did you want to say, sorry?
Just the as is.
As is.
has been appealed decisions that have followed.
Right. On to 5/2021 3017 25 Park.
Okay, so the property you're looking at is one. Okay. So, following refusal of the previous application, the new proposal submitted shows changes to address reasons for refusal. Previously proposed flat roofed dormer has now been replaced with a pitched roof dormer, which appears to reduce the size and impact in terms of bulk and scale, size and visibility. The remaining proposal does not appear to have been altered in any way from the previous application. We previously had no objection, subject to no loss of amenity, to numbers 23 and 27. Consider no objection provided previous reasons for refusal have been fully addressed and that there would be no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties. Design and materials on this locally listed building, which is sited in the Harpenden Conservation Area, to be compliant with their policies, etc., etc. So that was the previously proposed, and you can see the bulk of that there. It's very much so. And there you can see how much it's been altered. And it really is an improvement. And, there again, you can see the original one and change there. It's really pulled it in, made it a lot easier on the eye and street seeing. So on and so forth.
Thank you, Nim. Any comments from councillors on this one? Can't see any. In that case, we mind to go with the recommendation. All in favour? Okay, perfect. 5/2021 3102 doesn't meet the criteria, nor does 3112 or 3122. So we are on to 5/2021 3009 21 High Street.
I will have raised the vote.
No response.
Right, so this proposal is for alterations to the front of the building, with the doorway being centred in the middle and two new timber framed windows to match the large existing window. New signage, which is a hanging sign and an internally illuminated fascia sign, proposed colour red. New awnings are shown, which are for the proposed seating area along the paved walkway along the property frontage. The seating area shows seating for 16. Consider recommend refusal. The proposed internally illuminated fascia signage is out of keeping on this locally listed building in the Harpenden Conservation Area. Recommend refusal also with regards to the proposed external seating on the paved walkway along the property frontage. This would push pedestrians onto the highway and create conflict between both vehicles and pedestrians with possible serious consequences.
We've got the drawing of that pavement layout.
Councillor Farmer.
I'm just going to ask, presumably, and I can't remember, they've already got planning permission to change of use to a restaurant.
I haven't seen it.
Well, then, isn't this rather back to front if they haven't got?
I haven't seen it, and
Surely they need planning permission for it. I'm presuming from city air it's going to be a restaurant or whatever.
Very strange bank without your seating.
Patisserie, bakery patisserie.
Or a bakery patisserie, but have they got permission for that change? Yes.
I haven't seen it because I would think I would have put it on the history if I'd have seen it.
Yes, so don't they need it?
I don't, well,
Perhaps not, I don't know.
they can apply for it whichever way around they like, but they can't open it without the change of
No,
use.
I'm just saying they surely need a change of use planning
Well,
permission
I
in
mean, I
there.
suppose the bakery and the bank are both dealing in bread, aren't they? So
Well,
Lots of dirty.
yeah,
so it's-
the jokes are endless, aren't they?
yeah.
Thanks.
Out of interest, Lynn, who owns that paper?
Highways.
Is it highways?
Highways, isn't it?
So presumably they will need to also
Yes.
get their license, wherever it is you need to put something on the highway.
Yeah, well, you need a license, but I cannot see how you could possibly have room
Yeah.
for tables.
Well, it's funny actually, because I looked along that stretch and where the Wheatsheaf pub is, which used to be the there, where they've got their seating area, it's pushed back.
Yeah.
Into that, there must be their own
Yeah.
piece
Yes.
of land, isn't it?
But the building is further back.
Yes, exactly. And so the pavement
Yes.
area along there
Yes.
is all
Yes.
paved, so
But
it's safe.
it's safe because they've got that, because obviously the building is further back than the curtilage.
Exactly.
Whereas the NatWest building, it's not, it's right on them. I mean, you simply can't, it's just nowhere to put the tables.
There appears to be bollards as well. Are there bollards there?
An awful lot.
Yeah, I mean, intermittently there are.
Yes,
Admittedly,
Yeah, so you can't have bollards and seating area.
Good.
It's just,
It's on slide 80, it shows.
yeah,
yes,
If you go to slide 80, I think we're just talking about the bollards. Yeah, you can see them.
yes.
Yeah.
so I mean, there isn't enough room for somebody in a mobility or a wheelchair or
No.
pram.
Well, there won't even be enough, well, if you put tables there, there won't even be enough room for people to walk. I mean, never mind if they've got a wheelchair or a pram or whatever.
There's the seating area.
You just,
They probably need to be decimised.
Well, if you look at I think it's one of the slides, but yeah.
Actually interesting, on this page, they've described Bowers Parade as pedestrianised roadway.
Was in the
they
summer.
they realise it's not.
Should tell.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I mean, in the summer, when we when the county council blocked off the parking, yeah, to be a good proposal.
And there were a lot of actual street type cafes out there. I mean, Costa had seats outside and various others had, because that road was not in use as a road.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be used as a road, then it's very difficult.
Well, it is.
Personally, I welcome the idea of someone finding a use for that
Oh, yes,
particular
absolutely.
building, because it's not an easy one to find use
No.
for the way it's designed. So, and I welcome a new business on High Street. I do have a problem though with that proposal, because I cannot see how you can safely
Well, there's,
construct that.
by my maths,
Yes.
about 3 centimetres
Yes, I
between
mean,
the
I have to say,
bollard and the
even
edge
when
of
the
the.
road was closed, it's questionable that there had been room for tables there.
But then if you didn't have cars down there at all, you could then have people walking in the, there would be,
Yeah.
but
As there was.
as there was,
Is there a big vault inside it?
Some of those toilets like that. Put it on downstairs.
Would they leave that in there?
Shouldn't. I think your answer's okay. I think your answer's okay.
oh, are we okay with it's quite interesting about the illuminated sign. I'm quite, personally, I know this might be a bit controversial, but I'm quite relaxed about it, because even though it is conservation area, it's kind of in the high street, so it's kind of expect commercial, like what's the service buildings.
Yes, but it could end up looking like, I don't know, Bristol Street in Soho or something, couldn't you, with
They are actually.
Is it policy?
Yes, the policy. Oh, yes,
It is,
the
okay, it's
policy.
a policy.
Yes.
Harry, you're discovering like I've had on a number of occasions on this committee.
If it's a policy, then we're stuck. If not,
Yeah. I have similar instincts.
If it's internally lit, then you can't have it. If it's externally lit, then you.
right, yes, you have a light on to it, yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, it's that it's internal.
yeah.
Yeah, you can write up a sign from the outside. You can't stick a hole in the inside.
Yeah.
That's it, basically.
I think they could probably address the illumination. The problem is the outside, outdoor seating. So I don't see how you resolve.
I think
You take it off. That's
we might,
the only way to resolve it.
I mean, we might want to consider whether we put in some anodyne words along the road, along the lines that where we welcome.
Yeah.
Building coming into usage, nonetheless recommend refusal on the basis of blah, blah.
Can I just ask, in terms of the facade of the building, the changes that they're proposing with that, are we objecting to those as well?
The awnings, because they're part of the
I thought they were
outdoor.
moving the door.
And open the door and putting it central, matching the windows, aren't they? Because they've got one large window and then two smaller ones, so they're going to match the big one, aren't they? So balancing it out.
I wonder if we could include something along the lines of, like, in addition to what Rosa was saying about welcoming it to being in use again. Say we're comfortable with the redesign of the facade, excluding the illuminated sign. Yeah. Because otherwise, because it's designed for a bank, and I think we're going to have to accept it's going to need to change its frontage.
Yes.
So you can kind of look, bakery, whatever, so you can look in sort of has
I can't see anything to object on changing the frontage, and it's
No.
not sort of particularly distinguished frontages and stands.
It's boarded up. So that's not great.
You do have the two colours of the brickwork. Is that correct? I mean, in terms of most of the other shops along that road are grass fronted shops, whereas the bank is stone facade of two different colours of stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a distinctive facade that would be, personally, I think would be quite pity to lose it.
Well, it's locally listed, so they'll have to sort of, and the conservation area, so they have to sort of bear that in mind, I think.
Do you have, and I was actually quite happy with what we're going to do to the front. Do you have a picture of that at all?
Yes.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
So they're balancing it out a little bit, which actually looks like an
Yeah,
improvement.
I was assuming all the stonework would stay as is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would just be that way. They have to.
And I
replace
presume
door with
the
a
windows have to be deepened in any event.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I've got no issue with the rest of what they're doing. Illuminated sign aside, I just think you can't put seating outdoors there. I can't see how you could get any seating outdoors there.
No, you can't get any.
Not unless the county gets rid of the parking in the summer.
Yeah,
That's a long term.
I feel like we've had that argument.
We have.
But yes, not wishing to bring this to too swift an end, but unless anyone has any further comments, I propose, with the amendments that we discussed about welcoming the non-empty shop, are we minded to go with the recommendation of refusal for the reasons given? All in favour? Okay, on to 5/2021 3047 at the existing telecommunications site, Southdown Industrial Estate, Southdown Road, very imaginatively named. Your observations on this one, Luke?
Okay, so the proposal is to upgrade the existing telecommunication equipment in order to allow for 5G reception. Refreshment of the TEF flat packs in existing cabinets is proposed with a new CPSU to be installed on existing steel grilling. 3 existing TEF POMscope antennas will be replaced by 3 SUA7 antennas on the existing monopole, raising the overall height by 0.45 metre. The proposal is on a site on an industrial area and appears to offer no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties or the surrounding area. Consider no objection. So this is basically, I couldn't actually get street view. So this is
I've never
plan.
noticed.
Pardon?
I've never noticed. I've never noticed it on site there.
So, and they are minor changes, I think you'll see. So I'll just put arrows near to the actual changes. There's going to be a new little cabinet there. But the rest of the changes are here at the top of the pole. So the pole is going to be raised just slightly up here while they add 3 extra antennae up there. And then I'll probably read my screen. And then they're just going to make different additions here. It's all going to stay in the same place.
But it must be very tucked away because you can't see it from the street.
Yeah, and
You
I
can't
think,
see it from the street.
yeah, and I think, you know, I think we're going to see a few of these now because I think they need to upgrade the 5G. Things. So,
Any comments from councillors on this? In that case, are we minded to give the recommendation? All in favour? Perfect. 5/2021, 3114 and 3120 don't meet criteria. So on to agenda item 7, which is very similar. Cornerstone Telecommunications proposed upgrade to existing radio base station, Luton Road, Harpenden. What are we doing with this one then?
well, this is more or less the same sort of thing. It's basically a consultation, just to let us know that they're going to be putting in an application and just to get comments on it. So they're going to remove the existing 15-metre monopole, which supports 3 antennae, install a 20-metre monopole, which supports 3 antennae plus an additional 3 antennae. Again, it's all for 5G. They're going to install 1 equipment cabinet and 1 meter cabinet, 2 300mm dishes and ancillary development, including 3 remote radio units and 1 GPS module. It all sounds a lot, but I think when you look at the paperwork that came in your pack, it isn't actually a lot because a lot of it is on the existing equipment and it's all on the site near Thrales End and Luton Road.
It must be only just in our
It
plan.
must only just be.
Yeah, probably.
I think the boundary is that corner.
Is it the boundary near where that Chinese restaurant used to be?
No,
Is it near? Oh, you know that.
it's not otherwise. I mean, I'll just say, this new one, past, is going to be 5 metres high.
Yeah, it's going to be
It's just a lot.
I think 5 metres in total.
no,
Is it 5 metres higher?
15 to
20.
I think it's 15 at the moment.
Yeah,
It's got to go to 20, isn't it? I've all the paperwork there. I can ask for council comments.
yeah.
I was sat there until tonight, but I think it should have gone off the response by 22nd, which was yesterday, wasn't it? I'll say something tomorrow. I mean, the residents down there, all the houses opposite, they were too happy. There was a point where we wanted a second mast and we said it's better to have it 1 mast than 2. Once you get to the liberation of 2, it was bad. So we now got 1 mast, everything on it, you know what I mean? Backdrop is the, fortunately, backdrop to a certain extent is the slope, going up, isn't it?
Mm.
Behind
It's
me,
not-
towards the children's.
It's not hugely noticeable.
In a way, it's, it's steep slope at the back,
Yes.
but you can't hide them. At the end of the day, you can't stop it, it's 5G.
Yes. Well, the point is, you either have your 5G or not.
It's
It's
coming down the
basic.
traffic, it's got government support, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that there's quite a lot of screening on the left-hand side
Yes.
between the houses as well?
Yeah, I think the screen is high enough.
Not high.
Screen,
I'll-
sort of like boxes. And
Yeah, I am going to say something. I don't know what.
So do we need to do anything with this, or are we just noting it?
Well, is it addressed to us to do it?
yeah, we need to send it back some
We've got
sort
that,
of,
we've got that,
yeah, the
I've
letters.
got that.
And we need to send back some sort of,
Awful lot of paperwork with it. Look.
yeah,
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
pictures a bit like those.
sort of comments just to,
It's going to be 5 years forward. I appreciate 5G's on the way. And this sort of thing.
I mean, is it connected with the one that we've just had? I mean, I assume it must be.
You're saying.
it's the same company.
I'm sure that
It's the
one.
same company, but don't they all ping off each other?
Yeah,
So
probably.
you can't sort of say yes to this and then no to
One down by
that.
the BP garage.
The BP garage. Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I suspect there might be one on the very old water towers.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only 4 I know of. But it's 5G, and you read through this, the government says you've got to do it. And the safety fears are all being, gone out the window now. That was the uptime. Safety.
There isn't. So
I feel responsible because not my patch, isn't it? So, it didn't say thing down, there's no one by the railway line. Tom Hollybush on Westfield, there's a mass fair by the railway line. And I said, well, you've got a children's nursery just across the road. Have you contacted them? Yes, we have. Okay. I'm sure it's not as big as this one.
I mean, it's if you're going to stick a 20-metre mast anywhere,
Yeah,
there are worse places to put it.
I still rather have one rather than 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think,
Yes,
should we just note it or something?
yes, because once you start having multiples, you sort of end up with a sort of antenna farm, don't you? You're much better just having one.
I will bang a couple of things, I'll probably say close it down. You know what I mean?
But I don't think you do sit. I mean, frankly, if I'm driving, I don't tend to sit.
They do, so too, isn't it? They do come for comments.
As big as speed.
Which is quite it.
You can't really say some screening would be nice because you can't get the trees.
No, you can't get through that whole.
It's short of getting us.
Well, it's a sequoia or
Yes.
something.
Just a big net with some leaves on it.
Ones that are made to look like trees, they always look a bit naff.
Yes, I think they look better just left as what they are. I think, yes, exactly. They do look a bit silly, don't they?
You suddenly look at them, what is that really?
And I mean, the odd thing is, although they're tall, you do, I think in a strange sort of way, if they're tall, you actually, in an odd sort of way, notice them less, don't you?
Yeah, because the actual bulk
Is the actual bulk, yes,
Probably are.
is out of the normal eye line, yes.
There's one at Aberdeen Golf Club, and then dressed up as a tree. And anyone you have there, it doesn't know it's there, you got to tell them, you realise what that is, it just blends in.
Yeah.
There's a hybrid tree.
Yeah, no, I spotted that.
Yes.
When I realised it was taller than I thought it was.
It's quite tall. I mean, it's,
As long as we all get good reception.
yes, I mean, if we want to get decent reception, yes.
Very good.
Yes.
I think, broadly speaking, if we have to submit a response, we have no objection, do we, as a committee? That's fine. We should should we vote, or are we happy to take that as written? I think we can take that as written.
Appreciate this 5 years down the current track, there's no health fears anymore with remarks at the end of it. Yes, certainly in that effort weeks down Midland Road.
Right.
Yes.
On to item 8, appeals. We've received notice of an appeal at 25 Park Mount, which is presumably for the rejected one. Obviously, the rejected one wouldn't appeal. So we're just noting that.
Preservation order tree works, just noting. Likewise, conservation area tree works and technical applications. And the list of weekly St Albans District Council decisions. The date of the next meeting will be on the 7th of December. Cannot believe we are nearly in December. And Plans North is being held even more scarily on Monday, the 17th of January, 2022. January 2022.
It's all very well, but when you end up with a massive agenda, not heat pumps on.
Yeah.
I still think we have a problem here because people don't put pumps in. That's really developed.
Yes, but they don't meet the criteria.
Closing the
Precisely what I
meeting.
just said.
Closing the meeting at 9:27.
It's a huge problem. The people putting in pumps in